Even if you have the budget and all the subscriptions in the world, if none of your executives care about analyst relations and are not willing to work with you on executing the program and do not, trickle down the importance of analyst relations to their teams that are expected to work with you, then you as an AR manager are set up for a failure.
You are listening to This is Product Marketing, brought to you by Product Marketing Hive, the product marketing community that gives back. Product Marketing Hive and this podcast are supported by Product Marketing Edge, a technology product marketing consulting firm. In this episode, Terezia Batovska, the Analyst Relations Manager at Bloomreach, shares her thoughts on analyst relation. Let's dive into it right now. Hi Terezia, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Great. How did you get into analyst relations?
I got into analyst relations, or AR, how I will refer to analyst relations in our conversation, by a complete accident. I think, no AR manager got into AR by consciously following this goal. So before my job as an AR manager, I worked in international relations as a researcher, and I wanted to change industries, but keep the same type of job. And that's how I got into Bloomreach. So the role was initially intended as a research analyst, so leveraging analyst insights for internal research and dissemination of insights in the company, but it quickly became a regular AR job.
Interesting. So currently you are the AR manager at Bloomreach. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role and your responsibilities?
Absolutely. So I'll start by saying Bloomreach has 4 different products or product lines that are very modular. So the individual products as well as combinations of those products qualify for many different analyst reports. And I'm responsible for managing all interactions with industry analysts for all of these products and their combinations. So this includes working closely with our executive team and subject matter experts to develop the AR strategy for the year. And so the strategy involves determining which analyst reports and analysts we're going to focus on and how we can effectively showcase our business, products, and vision. And so in addition to setting the strategy, I also handle the execution aspect of it. So this involves coordinating various types of interactions throughout the year, such as briefings, inquiries, advisory days, research interviews, and events. And I actually have a little iceberg graphic on my LinkedIn showing all of the different interactions that AR managers usually handle. And so for all of these interactions, I work closely with our speakers, and I ensure that they are prepared to have a good conversation with the analyst and that they have a clear understanding of the analyst research. But one of my main responsibilities is managing big evaluations. So those are the Forrester Waves and Gartner Magic Quadrants. So this, I would say, is definitely the most challenging, but also the most rewarding part of my job. And to give our audience an overview of what that looks like. So in this research process, we as a vendor are asked to fill out roughly a 200 question RFI that covers all of the aspects of the company. So it goes from product capabilities, vision, company strategy, differentiators, innovation, to financial and customer metrics, and what's your support and services like, and even employee churn. So it literally covers everything, every single facet of a company. And then we also do a briefing, which is a deck that covers your company for around 30 minutes. And we do a product demo for around an hour. And so on top of all of that, sometimes we are also asked to provide 3 customers who act as our reference. And to make it even more complicated, what's really funny about these evaluations is you never know when exactly this whole process starts. So you as an AR manager know the week, but we never know the hour or a day. So you or I as an AR manager, I just get an email that we've been invited to this process. I drop everything and jump on the task and start executing on all of these deliverables. But one thing that is super important, and one thing I want to clarify before we jump into another question, is that even though I just explained that these evaluations come sort of unexpected, a good AR manager will have been working toward the evaluation throughout the whole year. So basically everything we do throughout the year with our SMEs and the analyst contributes to this moment of the evaluation.
Thank you for the comprehensive view of the role. Tell us a little bit more about your interactions with product marketing managers.
Product marketing managers in our AR program are the closest allies that I have. And I would like to use this opportunity to give a shout out to the whole PMM team at Bloomreach. So if you guys are listening to this, I love working with you. But every company's AR program is a bit different. So some AR managers may work more closely with product managers, for example. I think product marketers are so important to AR managers because we as AR managers need to ensure that how we communicate with the analysts aligns with our positioning and messaging. So I collaborate with our PMMs to develop effective talking points for inquiries. We work together on presentations for analyst briefings. But there's also plenty of insights coming from the industry analysts that helps PMMs do their job better. So for example, I'm talking about competitive intel, or you could do message testing with the analyst, or you could discuss sales plays, get their feedback on your pricing and packaging. So it's also my role to not only think about the AR program's objectives or my objectives, my KPIs, but balance that with how I can help our PMMs be better and provide more value to the company. Otherwise, working with AR feels very one-sided or transactional for the PMM.
Getting to today, our topic, analyst relations strategies. My first question is, in what scenarios is investing in analyst relation programs necessary? Are there any situations where it doesn't make sense? How can one tell?
What I'm about to say may be a bit controversial in the AR community, but I believe not every company should invest in analyst relations as their priority. And I say this as someone who earns money from analyst relations. But many times I see these headlines on LinkedIn like, your company needs AR program, or if you don't have an AR program, you are missing out. The truth is you're not always missing out. So there are a few ways how to spot that now is the time to start investing in AR. And it really depends on where your buyers and prospects come from. Is analyst research part of their buyer journey? Do they consult analysts or their research when making buying decisions? Are your competitors covered in analyst research? Do your salespeople get questions like, why are you not in this report? If you said yes to all of these, then you are already behind the curve in your AR efforts. However, if you are a smaller company, so a startup or scale up or targeting small businesses as your ICP, analyst relations may not be the best use of your money. Maybe your buyers care more about G2 reviews, so you should rather invest there. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a mistake to engage with analysts as a startup. I think there are great benefits of interacting with analysts at any stage of the company, but let's face it, subscriptions for Forrester or Gartner, that's an expensive investment that takes years to show ROI. Some companies are at a stage where they would benefit only from the analyst interactions that are for free, because yes, you can interact with analysts without a subscription too. And then these companies grow to a point where they will actually get value out of their AR investment. So to give you an example and, toot my own horn a little, I have a client I do AR consulting for. Their only investment is their time and my fee, no subscription whatsoever. And we managed to get every briefing request this year accepted and got into 3 different evaluations. But I was also the one to tell them that purchasing a subscription is not a smart investment for them at this stage.
Thank you for sharing. That's very clear. So in the analyst report, vendors are being placed on different corners of the quadrants. There's Gartner Magic Quadrants. They have leaders, challengers, niche players, and visionaries. How should everyone aim for the leaders corner? What is the right way to read the Gartner Magic Quadrant results?
The truth is everyone aims for the leader. And there's even this saying that goes, no one ever got fired for buying a leader, meaning the tag that is in the leader section of an MQ. The truth also is that, first of all, even getting on that grid means you are among the top 10 vendors in your space. Secondly, there are plenty of great software companies, even in the niche section. I love what one analyst told me about the MQs, and he said that they don't pick the best software. they pick the one where they believe the risk in buying, implementing, and getting value is the lowest. So they are basically de-risking buyer decisions. It's also important to understand the criteria used to rank all the vendors. The reports often aim very broadly in terms of, verticals and use cases. So it's basically you can do anything for anyone, where the legacy vendors usually have the upper hand. And the leaders are often the ones who define the category expectations as well as their weaknesses. So now, what to do if you're not a leader? You pick a tighter target audience and a differentiator that will deposition the market leader. So basically, it means your strengths should call out their weaknesses. Or if you're a challenger, you can paint your customers as forward-thinking innovators who are taking a different approach and seeing better outcomes as a result. In this situation, as an AR manager, you want to carefully manage your profile in the report. So the things that are called out as strengths as well as weaknesses. In an ideal world, you plant a seed of what those should be even before the evaluation begins and continue doing the same during the process. Because there will always be 3 cautions or weaknesses called out, but the art of analyst relations is making sure it's 3 things that your target audience doesn't care about that much. You also want to prepare a comprehensive sales enablement for your sales teams around the report that helps them explain all of these things I just mentioned to prospects and combat any jab that may come from competitors who might call you out for being placed lower than them.
Recently, Bloomreach is recognized as a leader in commerce search and product discovery by Forrest Wave. Congratulations on that. So, how do you work with analysts to shape the market perception of Bloomreach and the offerings?
Thank you. It's been definitely one of the highlights in my AR career so far. But here I think the off-season is the key. So off-season means the time when you're not actively participating in the evaluation, because once the evaluation kicks off, you cannot schedule any inquiries or briefings with the analyst if you are a participating vendor. So the off-season is your time to get to know the analyst, their perspectives on key topics in the market, gauge what they will care about in the evaluation, and even have challenging conversations on the topics where you don't see things the same way. By having an open two-way conversation, you can help analysts see things through your eyes and even have them align their point of view with yours.
Great point. Thank you for sharing. What are the common reasons that you've seen why some of the AR programs fail?
Number one for me is the lack of stakeholder buy-in. So even if you have the budget and all the subscriptions in the world, if none of your executives care about analyst relations and are not willing to work with you on executing the program and do not, trickle down the importance of analyst relations to their teams that are expected to work with you, then you as an AR manager are set up for a failure. And you could be the best AR manager in the world, but without executive air cover, without product managers, product marketing managers support, and your client-facing team supporting you as well, you won't be able to deliver value through your AR program. I have my very specific instance of the moment where the AR program failed for me. And I think it's so interesting because ultimately it was also the best thing that could have happened to the AR program as well. But let me briefly talk about it. So basically, one of our products used to be covered in a wave, and we were actually 1 year, we were a leader, and obviously everyone was so happy about it. And we did our job really well with that one report. And then when another refresh of this report was coming up, everyone was so excited to retain this leadership or leader position. But what happened is the market category or the definition for the report where we were covered in the next version basically changed, because there used to be 3 different subsections for this report for 3 different subgroups of vendors. But they decided in that year to merge all of these 3 groups together. And even though it wasn't like a huge change in the market category definition, it was still some sort of change. And so we were going into this, we had very high hopes, but actually we didn't do as well as we expected. We were, I believe, a contender. Contender isn't the worst, but obviously it's no leader. But luckily, this mistake actually helped propel our AR program and helped us get more eyes on the program. And obviously, yes, in the first phase, it was mostly negative attention that we got as the AR team. But ultimately, everyone saw that having this result, not being a leader or not having a stronger position, is actually something that our company cannot afford. And they started paying more attention to the AR program. They dedicated more resources. So what was really awesome is that, getting all of these resources and this buy-in from the executives. But this failure actually propelled the growth of our program. And I can say that, we backed some great results in the last year. We have more reports coming up where we also predict pretty strong results. So even though I was very stressed in that time, I think ultimately, as I said, it was the best thing that could have happened to our program.
In that sense, how do you measure the ROI of an analyst relations program and then communicate the value to the leadership?
This is such a hot topic in every conversation I have with my AR peers, because analyst relations is something very intangible and difficult to measure. It's not like you can go out there and count your conversions or something like that, but there are ways to go about it. So we look at leads from licensed analyst research. So basically the gated content that we license to distribute. We also have a very comprehensive win-loss program led by our PMM team that actually captures many instances of analyst influence. And on top of that, every year I go through all recorded sales calls and I look for specific keywords related to analyst relations. And all of this combined is our process for getting to the dollar value of our program. And that in AR, we call the earn side. So that's what you earn from analyst relations and interacting with analysts. But there's also the learn side, and it's something you can measure as well. So when talking about the learn side, I talk about all of the insights that you learn by talking to the analysts and interacting with them. And there are actually ways how you can measure if those insights were helpful to improve your roadmap, improve your product development, maybe introduce some new messaging or positioning. And so the way that we do it at Bloomreach is that we obviously take notes from all of our interactions, and then we pull the insights from those conversations. And every single insight is labeled in a specific way. So we label insights that contribute to the product. So product development, product offering, our actual functionalities and capabilities. Then we have a label for go-to-market. So that's advice, like more strategic and, your marketing efforts, marketing direction. Then we have feedback on customers. So we label all of our insights, and then when you're reporting, you can actually pull those insights based on their categories, and you can see, okay, did the analyst advice contribute to us introducing a new feature, or did it contribute to us introducing a new sales play? And to make it even more comprehensive, there are ways how to tie this with your typical PM tools that PMs use to manage the backlog of their ideas. So there are ways how to actually connect your system and your insights with their system to actually see, okay, did any of the analyst suggestions make it into the roadmap? And then you can report that on a yearly basis as well. And you can actually show your company that this is how the analyst, made our company better, or made our offering, made our strategy better. But I think the revenue influence is usually the most common metric that people use to measure ROI.
Thank you for sharing. So, looking at the larger picture, how do you see the role of analyst relations evolve in the future?
Oh, that's such an interesting question that I've been thinking about, because I talk a lot about the impact of AI and Gen AI on the way how AI managers do their work. It's a topic that I'm very passionate about because I use a lot of AI in my day-to-day. I would never say that AI managers will get replaced by AI. I think the relationship element, the human element of it is way too strong, in my opinion. But I do believe that if AR managers don't think about how they can leverage AI to provide more value to their company, they will get replaced by AR managers who do, because they use AI for the more mundane tasks and focus their time on tasks where they add value as human experts, or they are able to scale their program and do more with less, which, in today's climate of budget restrictions is the ultimate way to go.
Thank you for sharing. So we're getting to the end of our time here. Do you have any final thoughts to share with fellow product marketers and analyst relations managers?
I think I'll speak to the product marketers here, and I will say that I believe analyst relations can make you a better PMM. Because if you think about it, the industry analysts are in a very unique position because they talk to hundreds of vendors who try to impress them with the latest and greatest. They talk to decision makers and software buyers, and they advise them on how to conduct their procurement processes and how to pick the best software for them. So if you think about all of this, there's no other individual in your market category with this breadth of knowledge. So if you learn how to work with them or have your AR manager guide you along the way, you can unlock your personal business advisor who will, make your comp intel sharper, your messaging more unique, and your pricing and packaging more aligned with what buyers are really looking for. And if you want to ever talk about any of this, I'm happy to chat with anyone. So just reach out to me on LinkedIn and I will be happy to set up some time.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to This is Product Marketing, brought to you by Product Marketing Hive, a product marketing community that gives back. Check out our website, productmarketinghive.com, to join our community, meet fellow product marketers, and access free resources. If you enjoyed our podcast, please subscribe and give a 5-star rating on the platform of your choice. See you next time.